Hello friends, my name is AJ. The AP Computer Science exam is in just 2 days, and in this video I'm going to talk about everything you're going to need up to the exam and also on exam day and what you should have with you. Without further ado, let's get started. So the first thing that I want to talk about is going to be your e-ticket. So the College Board, actually as of today, which is 2 days before the exam, they should have sent you to your email that you use with your College Board account. They should have sent you your e-ticket, and your e-ticket has your AP ID on it, as well as a link to the actual exam page. And you definitely want to save this email. Do not get rid of the email. Make sure that it is safe. That AP ID is also very, very important. Now, I don't recommend to forward the email in order to really share that email with anybody, as you're not supposed to share your actual your AP ID with anybody, and doing so could result in a possible canceling of your scores, or you may have to take it again. So you just to avoid that entire scenario, I don't recommend to forward it to anybody. If you have to, just again, as safekeeping, you could take a screenshot possibly of your AP ID just so you have it. But again, remember not to actually share that with anybody. So that AP ID is going to be very, very important, because you want to have your AP ID so that you can enter into the exam, but also you want to put it on the top left corner of your actual submission page for your exam as well when you're submitting your questions. So not only is the e-ticket very important, the next thing you're actually going to want is going to be your Java Quick Reference Guide, which I actually have a printout here. So and this will be in a pinned comment in the comment section below, but the College Board gives you, and usually on the real exam, they give you the Java Quick Reference Guide. And they actually have a copy of this you can print out as well for 2020, and it is allowed. And it's actually very good. It goes over things such as, it has basically all of the different class constructors and methods that will help you to remember on your exam. So for example, under the string class section, they actually have, and they tell you all of the different methods. They tell you that the length, substring, index of equals to, compares to. I don't know if you'll be able to see it on here, maybe mirrored for you, but it has your, it has it written out, as well as different, the parameters, and it even gives you a description of what it does. So there's, for the string class, you have the integer and double class, like int.min value, int.max value that we talked about in unit, I believe unit 1 or unit 2. It may have actually been unit 2. And then also the math class, so it has the absolute value one, the power, the square root and random methods. Random is also very, very useful. And another thing that it has is your array list methods, which is going to be very important on this exam, given that there's a question dedicated to array lists / arrays. And it basically tells you, again, I don't know if you'll be able to see it, it may be mirrored, but it talks about, it has the size, it has the add, it has the get, set, and remove, as well as all the parameters you may need and basically what they do. So I definitely recommend having this, or at least a printout. I printed this out on cardstock just so that it's a little more durable. And if you're carrying this around and constantly moving it on your desk, it doesn't wrinkle. But it's definitely something that you should print out. It's going to be very, very helpful for you, and it's given to you by the College Board. It's a free resource, which is very concise and definitely will be helpful on the exam, especially if you need to quickly look up something just to remember how to write it, like in terms of parameters and different things. And this is actually very useful, because I know there's some people in the comment section who are talking about array lists, remembering all the different methods and stuff. They actually give you all the methods. It's very, very helpful. And as long as you know what they do and how to use them, if you forget, is the method called size, or is it called length or something? Like, is it called remove or delete? You can look it up, and it says right here, as well as what it does and the parameters. So definitely recommend having the Java Quick Reference Guide. Another thing that can supplement your Java Quick Reference Guide is, because this AP exam is going to be open notes, it actually could be beneficial for you to have notes with you. Now, I don't recommend having really long notes, because this exam is very, very, you have a very short amount of time to answer questions. You have only 25 minutes to answer the array list question, only 15 minutes to answer the methods and control structures question. So the less time you're looking through your notes is definitely going to be better. And that's actually how it is for most open note tests anyway. But I definitely recommend that if you have notes, you keep them really concise, and you write, like, for example, the way that I did it in my videos and, those PDFs that were there, I kind of have like a certain topic, like say traversing array list, and then I have like a little bit of stuff and examples. I definitely, like, let's say you're using some sort of online textbook such as Rootstart Academy, I definitely recommend that you don't print those out, because trying to read through a jargon-filled textbook is not going to help you. It's actually going to waste your time, and it may even leave you more confused than you really needed to be. So if you want to have notes with you, definitely keep them in order and have out the ones that are going to be necessary, right? And kind of have it very concise, where it tells you, maybe with an example of how to set something up, rather than some long text about what the definition of a for loop is. Because this is going to be, again, a FRQ, you're not going to have to write the definition for a for loop. The only thing you need to know is how to use a for loop, how do you write a for loop, and maybe an example of it in a practical scenario. So definitely when you're doing your notes, you shouldn't have 5 pages of notes on loops when you're doing things with a bunch of definitions and while loop versus if or while loop versus for loop and that kind of thing. Like on your exam, you don't want to be reading through that, because again, the time is a constraint. So it's better off that if you have your notes, you have examples in your notes, and you kind of keep it really concise and remove a lot of vocabulary stuff. And the lucky thing is for this exam, you can kind of units 5. You don't really need to have Unit 5 notes with you, and definitely not Unit 8 through 10. You're only going to need 1, 2, 3, and 4, 6, and 7, right? And those are the main ones, and out of which, a lot of the different topics are not going to be that heavily tested. And, I mean, in the sense that, obviously, you have to know those things, but again, you're not going to need to know, like, the in-depth definitions, or you're not going to, because it's not multiple choice, it's definitely going to be more beneficial and more practical. So definitely make sure that your notes are going to be more on that practical approach, so that if you need to, for example, look something up, like, if you're trying to compare 2 things and you're like, oh wait, how do I, or I had an example in my notes, it's easier to quickly flip to it and see, oh look, I have a for loop, right? I'm traversing an array here. This is how you do it, rather than an entire page on what traversing means, right? For example. Another thing which could be helpful, which again, though, time constraint is going to be a problem, so you don't want to look at this too much, but in your notes, you could also have, examples from released FRQs, right? Because a lot of them have some similar things, such as the 2020 sample questions. How you were comparing one item in an array list to the next item. You had that actually into a 2020 and I believe 2018. It could have been 2017, but I'm pretty sure it was 2018. So there are some recurring themes. Another one is getting digits, right? Like that was a common one in both 2017 and 2020 sample, of using modulus and division to get digits. So if you want to do your notes, you should do it those type of things, like how to get digits, and then you have the modulus and you have the division, because that will be more helpful to you on the actual exam if you forget how to do it. And it's definitely better to have that stuff nicely organized with you, even if it takes an hour to organize your notes. It's going to be much more helpful for you to organize it before the exam than on the exam trying to frantically flip through everything and open up a bunch of documents, which definitely slows you down on an exam where your time is already limited. And then the last thing I want to talk about is setting up your IDE and your document that you're actually going to be typing on. You should definitely do this either before your exam or within that 30-minute window. You're supposed to log into your exam about 30 minutes earlier than it actually starts. So within that window, I definitely recommend doing that. So as you can see on my screen here, I have, and I just pulled up this PDF, but here you should have your browser where you actually have your exam question. And you can kind of make it half your screen. And then the other half of your screen should be, your actual Java file. And I'm using JGrasp again. So like you can again do like comment part A, and then you can write your code, public static void main. Like, I'm just writing something as an example. But you can write your thing here, then write your solution, and then you will have it all on this page. Now, the one thing you want to do, remember on your page when you're setting it up, is you want to have your APID on the top left of your page. And then below it, you want to have your initials. right? Your initials and your initial, and of course, this is not my actual AP ID. I literally just put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, so just just as a disclaimer, I guess. But you want to have your AP ID and your initials on the top left of your page. If you forget this, will your score get canceled? Not necessarily. It's not going to get canceled. It's just, it makes it easier if something happens for them to be able to actually give you a score. Like if it gets out of order or something, or there's some mishap, they can then go back and match it all up. So it's more of a helpful to them, and it could save your score in some cases. So I definitely recommend having this on your page and not to purposely not do it. And then another thing I actually do want to mention, which is slightly off, but I had a comment asking me in under I think the last video on how I have these color codings. Like my strings are are a green, my numbers are a orange, my keywords are purple like that. And how do I actually do this color coding? And this is helpful for readability. If you go under tools and you go under, it's under, I think, view, possibly? Settings. It's under settings. It's settings, so it's under settings. Go under settings and click on colors. And when you have this, now you have all of your options to change your colors in JGrasp. And I can change my different colors. Like, let's say I don't want my comment to be orange. If that's too annoying, I can click this. And then when I have this dot here, and when the dot's gone, that means that it's unlocked, or I can change it. So now let's say I change it to like, a nice gray color, and I click OK. In fact, I want to do this in my next few videos. I didn't necessarily like the orange. And then I can lock it by clicking this, or if you click this icon, it will revert back. So you just want to keep it your custom, and then you can click apply, and then you can see here that my comment is now a nice gray color rather than orange. So definitely, if you want to change your colors, definitely do it this way. And this is how I set my colors right now. But definitely, if you want to change your colors, that is how to do it. And you can change also your font size in settings as well. If you go to settings, font, you can change your font size using this slider right here in case it's too small for you and you want it to be a little bit bigger. Alright everyone, that is pretty much all of the tips that I have and for the things that you should have before or do before your exam, as well as have on exam day. If you liked the video, feel free to like and subscribe for more content, and as always, thanks for watching.